Okay, so today what we're going to have a go at doing is to try and repair this Medusa Compact 950 little generator unit that we've got. This is sold by SIP under the Medusa Compact 950, but in actual fact these little generators, all identical, loads of them about, all exactly the same, sold by lots of different people. I think Machine Mart sell a version, and even Sealy and people like that sell a version. So they're obviously mass produced in a factory somewhere in the world, and then they're sold under all sorts of different names and makes. Quite a good little thing, actually, to be honest with you. I've had it donkey's years, but it's one of those things where you don't use it very often, and so they get to the point where things perish and die on them. And the thing that's happened on this one is that the fuel tap has actually failed, and now leaks from the little seals in the front of the fuel tap. Spent quite a while looking around to try and find the correct tap, and in actual fact my brother-in-law found me one of these taps on eBay in the end, because he had exactly the same problem with his one of these little generators. So we've got the replacement here. Now the only difference is that the replacements don't have a little filter bowl on the bottom, whereas with this one you can actually see at the bottom here there is a little filter bowl here. Now the filter bowl obviously is important to try and filter out any impurities in the fuel. Now we'll have to see whether that works okay without having the filter bowl there. If it doesn't, then and we start getting clogging up of the carburetor, then we might have to look at getting a little inline filter to go in the fuel hose between the tap and the carburetor. The other thing that happens on these occasionally is that when you turn them on, after a little while they end up leaking out of the float bowl on the carburetor, because the carburetor floats get stuck. So depending whether that's still doing that, we'll have a look and see whether it is. We'll turn the tap on, leave it for a little while, and if it leaks out the bottom of there, then we know we've got a problem. The other problem we've got with this at the moment is, even if I turn the thing on and put the choke on, it don't want to go. So I'm assuming probably either it needs a new spark plug or the spark plug is pretty fouled up. So we'll have a look at that in a little while as well. So first thing to do really is to try and whip the fuel tank off, drain the fuel out of it, and then see if we can change this tap in a few moments. So here we go. Seems to me that we've got 4 bolts, 10mm head bolts hold the fuel tank on. I'm hoping that's all that holds the fuel tank on anyway. So we'll whip that off, and we'll have a look and see whether the fuel tank will then lift. Yep, looks like it does. So it looks like at this point in time we can probably pinch that little connector up. Oh, and looking at this, the fuel hose itself is badly perished just here, so we'll be having to replace that bit of fuel hose as well in a few moments as well. Now, because I haven't got an awful lot of fuel in here, I can probably get away with changing it without draining this, but I think for safety's sake we might turn the tap on and just let that drain into a fuel can as much as possible. As I'm doing here, do it outdoors as well, because it's going to get quite smelly. Doing this in your garage is probably not a good idea. Certainly I wouldn't recommend doing it in your living room. So we're going to try and undo this big nut here. Let's just go and find out what size that is. That looks to be a 14mm. It's come undone nice and easily, and I'm hoping that the whole tap assembly simply unscrews out the bottom of the tank like so. Just pinch that seal off there, because the new one comes with a new seal. So that's the old one. You might be able to see there that these are actually riveted together, so you can't even really take them apart and change the seal inside there, which is a shame really, because that seems to be all that's gone with it. So what we'll do is we'll wind that right the way back, give that a little screw in until it's at the point we want it to be. Oh, just hoping that it hasn't gone cross-threaded. It's a bit of a funny thread. There we go. That seems to be headed the wrong way now. tighten up this the lock nut like so. It just crushes that sealing washer a little bit. Don't want to over tighten that because you might snap something quite easily. And then obviously we want to let the remaining petrol in there, roll to that end and see whether it's actually leaking. No, it's not leaking, so that's good. So now I need to see whether I've got a piece of hose in stock that will replace this piece of hose that is leaking here. So we're going to have a look for that now. So let's see if we can just pull a bit of pipe off down the bottom there, the hose up. I have to see what I've got in the way of hose for this. So the weather's turned a little Welsh on us, I'm afraid, so we've had to just retreat into the doorway of the garage. I really don't want to get right in the garage because this is going to stink because of the fuel. Now I found a bit of hose. Unfortunately I haven't got any hose clips big enough, but we'll have to just see whether we can make this work for now, and then when I'm able to order some correct size clips, then we'll get some clips in. So that's got the fuel tank back in the right place. So if we now just start the screws where they should be, then we can quickly zip them back on. Still pretty confident it's not going to start because I think the ultimate problem is the spark plug. Okay, let's quickly zip them back on. Okay, so that's the fuel tank back on. What I'll do is I'll turn the tap on for the time being and just see whether we get any leaks. If we do, then we know we can't go any further without getting the hose clamps on there. There's a little bit of fuel left in the tank, but I'll just top that back up with what I took out. So help test the fuel system as much as possible. I have to say the hose was a good fit, and it's a lot thicker wall than the stuff that was on there. Very thin walled the hose that was on there. So that's the reason that the hose clips that came off won't still fit the thing. As you can see here, very thin walled hose that really you know, not surprised that it's perished and has actually it's gone flat at that point, and it's as you can see there, completely split on both sides. So yeah, a bit past its best, that one. So not surprising it was leaking out of there as well as out of the tap. So that's that. So turning it around, we can turn our attention now to the spark plug. So standard size spark plug socket that these have in them. So we'll quickly turn our attention to that. And remember to use a proper spark plug socket on any spark plugs, because otherwise you risk damaging the ceramic section here, or snapping it even. So let's take a look at what state this is in, and then we can decide what we're going to do with this, whether we need to replace it or whether it can simply be cleaned. Yeah, a bit gummed up and gooey as you see there. Think we might be in a situation where we might replace the spark plug here. Now this is a BPR 6ES in there, so we'll see what we can do with that. So I've given the spark plug a good clean, cleaned it up with some brake cleaner, and also I've given it a quick go over with a bit of emery paper, just to try and clean some of the worst of the soot and grime off it. Probably could really do with a new one in it, so we'll probably stick a new spark plug in it at some point. Just give that a quick nip up and put it back in. Don't over tighten that, because if you strip the thread out of the head, you're in a whole world of trouble. Pop the cap back on, and then we'll have a look and see what happens. So we'll switch her on, pop a bit of choke on, Whee, away she goes. Fairly quickly with these you can normally turn the choke off again, and that means that you won't get quite so much smoke. And if we head over here, we can have a look at what's going on. So it looks like we're back in business with our little generator there. Nice bit of smoke, being a two-stroke, but smells good. And then let's see if we can find something to plug into it and see if it will. There we go. Straight away we've got power coming out of it. So that's a good thing. So hopefully that might just help you have the confidence to have a play about with your generator rather than chucking it out.